Hello, my name is Morgan Sipka. I'm an instructor of deaf and hard of hearing students, and I've been teaching for 4 years at the Ohio School for the Deaf. I teach middle school social studies. I'd like to talk about my experience from the teacher's view during the coronavirus pandemic. I'd like to specifically talk about the use of technology. On March 12th, the governor of our state announced that schools statewide would be closed for 3 weeks. Eventually, that was extended through the end of the school year. At the same time, our school was planning to provide new Apple devices for both students and staff. Of course, prior to the pandemic, we had been teaching in classrooms, but after school closure, technology became very important for the ways in which we teach our students. And we know that can pose a big challenge. But I hope through my presentation today that you can see that some challenges may turn out to be successes. One challenge is the increased communication that we need to have with families and students. Some families may respond quickly by email, whereas other families require additional contact points in order to get their attention. Sometimes that means calling them instead of emailing them. So it's important that you have a communication plan that's unique to each family. It could be that you use email or texting, traditional phone line, a video phone, or some other type of video conference like Zoom, or a family communication app. Now, when I say a family communication app, I mean something like Class Dojo or Remind, which is a specific app that you may use. There are a variety of apps on the marketplace, and they provide different ways of communicating. You may be able to communicate through video or through direct message. Some of them allow you to set a calendar to support behavior. So there's many options available to you. Whichever you pick, it doesn't really matter. What's important is that communication happen through these apps so that teachers and families can be on the same page. That's especially true for deaf and hard of hearing students because their families may be quite far from where the teachers are or where the schools normally are. The structure of the family, the schedule, the encouragement that the families need to provide is important for students to be successful. And that's our goal, after all, right? When we coordinate with families, it helps us as teachers better understand family dynamics so that we can provide services better. It's also important to remember that flexibility is key. Some families will have a very set schedule, and the same one can work. Others may need to adjust their schedule over time. Here's an example of some of the apps that I've been talking about that are available on the market. Another big challenge is selecting a virtual learning environment, VLE for short. A VLE is a place where students, parents, and teachers can see assignments, assessments, and provide feedback. Our school was excited to transition to these Apple devices that I talked about. And of course, we recognize the need for some students to have a computer at home so that they could access these environments. Of course, being new, the teachers themselves did not have experience using these environments, so we had to find different resources in order to learn which one would be best. In the end, we chose Google Classroom. The reason we did that was because we felt like the interface was very simple and clean. It wasn't full of confusing parts. Also, the Google app for education was very nice because it could be accessed from anywhere on any platform. As teachers, we also felt like we could learn the platform very quickly. This doesn't mean that Google Classroom is the only choice that you may have. For example, there's Schoology. Apple has a product called Schoolwork, and there are others. It's best that your school picks the program that best fits your needs. One of the biggest challenges was teaching students to access the VLE. As I mentioned, some students may not have devices at home, and so we've sent them iPads, or we've worked with the family to establish a reliable internet connection. This did take some time, showing the students how to access the VLE and how to use it, but we were able to use screen sharing. We had to teach them different techniques of using an iPad on Zoom or FaceTime and other methods of getting those points across. But it is possible to get through it. It just requires a little bit of creativity and some repetition. We've used Zoom quite often. Zoom is nice on a computer because you can have two windows side by side, so you can see what's going on in Zoom at the same time that you're looking at the work that needs to happen. Unfortunately, on an iPad, you can't do that side-by-side view. So we had to figure out a way around that in order to be able to address those students who are using iPads. So I'll show you some examples of how we've done this. Here's example 1. We're in a Zoom meeting, and we've asked the student to use the Annotate tool. Now, this works on both a computer and an iPad. What you'll do is open the work document for the student, invite the student to a Zoom meeting, share your screen with the student, and then give the student control in order for them to use a tool where they can write or highlight different parts of the screen. They can even draw on that screen if they'd like. What's important to remember is if you'd like to save that work, you'll need to create a screenshot. So here's the example. Hi, Dennis, how are you? Are you ready to do reading? Yes, I'm ready. All right, I'm going to share my screen. And on your iPad, I'd like for you to use the drawing tool to make annotations. Does that make sense? Yep. Okay, you're in control. That's great. That's the right answer. Okay, let's go to number 2. You ready? Okay, so clear all of your drawings, and then we'll go to number 2. Okay. That's great. Good job. I've put a check mark there. And we're all done. Congratulations. You got them both right. The American School for the Deaf is proud to sponsor the National Deaf Education Conference, which has created the NDEC Signs and NDEC Engage series this year. During the pandemic, we need to be creative and thoughtful about how we reach our communities, and NDEC has done that for our instructors, administrators, and parents. Thank you. Here's my second example. During a Zoom meeting, the student can use the remote control function. So first you're going to open the meeting, invite the student in. You're going to share your screen with the student. And then along the top, you're going to click on Remote Control. And then it'll ask you to select the student's name. That gives the student control of your computer. Hello, hi, how are you doing? I'm good, how are you? Good. You ready to work on reading? Yep, I'm ready. Okay, I'm going to share my screen, and then I'm going to give you control over the screen. So what I want you to do is to move the box to the right answer. Okay, you're in control of the screen. So go to slide number 1, read the prompt, and then when you're ready to make a selection, move the red box to the correct answer. Okay, just like this. Oh, got it. Okay, now you're in control. That's right. Good job. Oh, that's the right answer? Oh, good. Let's do one more. Now, again, take the orange box and move it to the correct answer. That's the right answer. Congratulations. Thanks. Here's example number 3. Again, during a Zoom meeting, a student will use the multitasking function on an iPad. And we're going to do this in the context of playing a classroom game. So first you're going to open the game or activity. You're then going to invite the student to a Zoom meeting. On the student's iPad, they're going to swipe up from the bottom, and they're going to hold that so that you can get a parallel view on that screen. So they'll be able to see the signing that's going on in the Zoom room and manipulate the game at the same time. Now, an important thing to keep in mind is that when you have this dual app display on an iPad, the student will not be able to respond in the Zoom function. Their video will be frozen. So if they need to respond, they'll need to move that multitasking game out of the way, respond in Zoom, and then bring it back. Hi there, are you ready to play the game? Yeah, I'm ready. Okay, so remember, I'm going to share my screen. You will need to watch the Zoom to see the prompts. And then on your iPad, you're going to use the multitasking function to put the game in a side-by-side format with Zoom. Remember, if you're in multitasking, I can't see you. Your Zoom view will be frozen. So if you want to comment, you'll need to remove the game from the multitasking view, make your comment, and then when we're done, you can move the game back into multitasking view. Sound good? Sure. All right, let me share my screen. Oh, cute, snowy bunny. Are you ready? Remember what I said earlier. If you want to comment, you'll need to move the game out of multitasking view. Are you ready to go? Yep, I'm ready. Okay, let's go. Move the game back into multitasking view. Where is Greece located? Yay, congratulations. Good job. Let's move on to number 2. Here's example number 4, using Google Apps for Education, or shared files. So in this case, a student will be working, and the teacher will be viewing the progress at the same time, and they will use a Zoom file to look at the Google Classroom assignment. So you find the worksheet, and then you click on the student's name in order to see their file. And you can see how they're manipulating the file in real time. All right, Dennis, are you ready to learn about religion? Yes, good morning, Morgan, I am. All right, today we're going to focus on learning 2 important vocabulary words regarding religion. The first one is monotheism. That's a big word that means that a specific religion believes in one God. The second word that we're going to learn today is polytheism. I spelled it wrong. That word means that a religion believes in many gods. Mono means one, poly means many. So what I'd like for you to do is to go to your Google Classroom and open assignment number 3. And in that assignment, you're going to need to sort some pictures into monotheistic and polytheistic religions. And I'll be watching you at the same time if you have any questions or to see how you're progressing. Just to clarify, monotheism means one and polytheism means several gods? Is that correct? Yeah, that's right. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was matching them correctly. I'm going to jump back into the Google sheet, the slides now. Great job. I could see your work and I gave you 100%. Yeah, great, I got that. I saw that I got an A. Thanks. Even though we're working remotely, I hope you can see how we can provide feedback and scaffolding in a quick format. I want to make sure that students can get their assignments done and receive that feedback. As we talked about, it's important to increase communication during this time to make sure that students are learning even off campus.